Okay, J Fire International, welcome to our very first call for 2017. I don't need my glasses, I'm not reading. This is Angela Luceni here, Emerald Director based in Melbourne. And tonight we're very, very excited to have the best of the best on our call with leaders right across our global market coming on to listen to the wise words from Diamond Director Craig Schulze, who we are very lucky enough to work with here in Melbourne. He's the local diamond here in Melbourne. So there's lots of reasons for you guys to be excited. I hope that you've got a pen or two. I hope you've got some paper to write on. I am recording this, so if any of your teams can't make it on, it's all okay. But that's enough from me, guys. I'm going to hand it over to Craig, and yeah, can't wait to see what's in store for us for 2017.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the call. And look, I'm probably 3 or 4 days later than I normally like to do some form of kickoff call, but you know, just really been enjoying the time, spending time with family over the last few weeks, and you know, that's a really important time that people should really cherish for their, you know, for their I guess, reward for the efforts that they put in. And, you know, being a personal trainer and in the fitness industry for so long, I used to really encourage all my gym clients to, through that December and festive season, to really make sure that they let their hair down and make sure that they enjoyed time with their family as a really important part of the process for their health and well-being. And I've sort of taken that philosophy into my network marketing career as well. And you know, but I guess as soon as 2000 or the first of the first in the year ahead happens, it's game time. And you know, for myself, for the last week, it's been all about reconnecting and revisiting all the prospects that I'd visited in 2016 and pre that time. But now we're into this. Let's get into some more serious stuff with the business. And also next week we start really kicking off our webinar and our more e-commerce based approach to the business, because as we all know, mid-December to end of January are the quietest phase for business in all of network marketing and in most businesses as well. But as of late January, moving into February, it starts moving from our webinar-based system into our more physical-based system, where we're running all our events all around the world, as we've done for the last 6 years that we've been working the Jeunesse opportunity. And, you know, I'll just, before I move into what's installed for this year and what excites me, I just want to really touch on what's happened to date, and always really hang on the words of Chief Visionary Officer Scott Lewis. Everything he says, you know, I really take for myself to the bank. Let's call it to the bank, because he's very conservative but very, very passionate about what's happening. Over the last week, he's been in Hawaii and he's done a number of lives, and I love watching his lives. I love watching his Google Hangouts. That's where I get a lot of my key figures and information for my prospects that I like to deliver to my prospects, is through listening to Scott share his vision and heart, as well as the Google Hangouts that he does. The Exec Connects, they are on a monthly basis, which gives you updates on the company. But, you know, we just announced a $1.4 billion year in our 7th year in business. So we moved from a $30 million company to 65 million to 130 odd million to 257 million to 418 million to 1.1 billion to 1.4 billion, which has never, ever, ever, ever been done in the history of this industry. The 1.1 billion in that time had never been done before. So we broke a record on a record. So the point I want to really map out to everyone at the start of the call is we're on to something pretty special. We're a part of something pretty special. We're a part of history of an industry that's been around for 100 years. We are one of 5,000 plus companies, and we are breaking record on record on record. So it's important that you really respect what you have in front of you. You know, it's really, really, really important. If I look at my business, I joined on the second year of the Jeunesse journey at $60 to $65 million, and have rode a wave. And in that 5 to 6 year period, lots of things have happened, lots of things have changed. But I think back to day one, and I had a vision in day one of what I wanted to achieve over a 5 year period. So I put a plan in place. And Lyndon always talks about the importance of a serious plan and operating and working towards a plan. So what is your plan for 2017? If you get off this call tonight and don't have a serious plan in place, you're really playing a hobby-based game, and you end up at the end of the year with a hobby-based result as well. So I want to make it important that you have a plan in place moving forward, and we'll talk a little bit about that throughout this call. But you know, my plan in place was this is day one. Haven't enrolled one person, knew what was possible in this industry, and my plan was to hit a certain figure by year 5. So my plan was in place for year 5. I achieved that in my 3rd year and doubled it in my 4th year, and will certainly be that well and truly over that again in my 5th year. But you know, the importance is that, you know, I had a plan in place, and I've rode a wave of a company that's done something exceptional, and I believe that we're really at a point in time where we've consolidated the foundations of our business. And for the people that grab it now, the people that say today's the day that I will put the right plan in place, I will do the right things to build this business, because it's very simple to build the business. It's not easy, but it's simple. You know, you can really be a part of, you know, what I call wave 2. And wave 2 is working with a company that's proven and has a better story and can ride that next multi-billion-dollar wave. So that's what we have in front of us. And that's sort of giving you a bit of a, I guess, going back in time and what's happened to date. But I'm more excited than I've ever been in Jeunesse right now. And a lot of people have often said, and you come across people over Christmas that you may not have seen for a year, some family, some friends, and they often ask me questions about, you know, you've done incredibly well. Why don't you take the foot off the pedal? Why do you continue to travel 26 weeks of the year like you did last year and the year before? Why do you continue to make major sacrifices where you're spending time away from your family? And why do you make those sacrifices when you're already in a position where, you know, financially, very, very healthy state, and you could probably sit back and put your foot up? For me, it's all about respecting what's in front of me. You know, if I believe that Jeunesse had run its race, I probably would not respect what's in front of me. And I truly believe that the best is yet to come, and I want to be a part of that journey. I want to be a part of the next 5 years of Jeunesse. I want to be a part of more global expansion, taking more products to market, helping more people reach dreams that they have never, ever, ever thought was possible. I want to be a part of that wave. You know, I'm in my mid to late 30s at the moment, and I believe that, you know, I'm just warming up in Jeunesse, and I'm just warming up of what's possible for this opportunity, and really, really, really excited about what's just about to unfold. So I'm going to share a bit about why I'm excited with Jeunesse, and why and what to look forward to, and what you should respect, and the plan that you should put in place. And I want to start local to start with, because, you know, home is where the heart is. I believe if you want to build a truly big business, a successful business in network marketing, you should build local first. Well, people ask me that question a lot. I don't necessarily mean build local first, build warm market first, but for 99.9% of the population, warm market is local. People that you know, people that you hang out with, people that you speak to on a regular basis usually live in your country. If that's not the case for you, don't go and try and operate in a market you've only just moved into, and that's your local market. It's your warm market's the most important. And if your warm market's global, congratulations, that's a bonus for you. So warm market is more important, but traditionally it's local. And in Australia, and I know that I've already seen lots of people from other markets, South Africa, Denmark, I saw some people in New Zealand. There's a lot of different people from different markets around the world. But, you know, I love Australia. Why we are so far away from everywhere in the world. So when leaders get on a plane, it's usually big expense, big time on a plane to get there to go and build the business. And while we're a small population of 20 to 22 million in population, we're a great country in Australia where we're very multicultural, and you can build very, very, very local, and your business can go very, very, very global. You know, I love the example of the Susan Land story, who has, you know, based in Sydney, but, you know, the best part of her business is in China. So that means that her sponsor has business in China by enrolling someone in Sydney. And you really need to take that advice to the bank. You could enroll someone that's a local community, Thailand member, Taiwanese member, Vietnamese member in Australia, where we have very, very, very strong communities, and have a great international business from working that locally to start with and taking it globally through that market. So it's really important that you focus on what's most important, you know, focus on where the results will come. You know, I really, the reason I make that point, there's a lot of people that always come to me with, you know, all about India. And I get really excited about what's going to happen, and India is going to be huge and massive, but it's all about balancing your time. Now, if you're spending 5% of your Jeunesse time in the business focusing on India, I can accept that. But when it becomes, you know, 10%, 20%, 30%, 80% of your time, and you're hedging your entire Jeunesse business opportunity on a market that's not even opened yet, you know, you're out of balance with what will work for your business. You're gambling with your network marketing career. So it's really, really important to understand that there's time in the business and there's productive time in the business. Time in the business, you could be doing the business by sitting there on Facebook chatting to people. That's very, very possible to say that you are working on your Jeunesse business. Ringing up someone that's already enrolled and having a conversation with them, you could classify that as time in the business. But I only count productive time in the business. When I say how many hours do you need to work a Sapphire Elite style business, a Director style business, a Diamond Director style business, you know, I'm talking about productive hours only. Anything else is just considered, you know, hobby-based activities. So we're going to start with our warm market first, and I'm going to talk to the first part of this about our Australian business. Now, it's really important that there will be a call that will be announced and the details that will be sent out, that Lyndon and Rachel will predominantly run that call. So you've got a combination of updates from Lyndon, who's one of the biggest leaders in the entire company, as well as Rachel, who heads up corporate in Australia and, you know, a really dynamic leader for our country. So they're going to sometime later in the week, run a call with some great announcements. So keep your eye out for what's going to happen there, and you'll hear a lot more specifics from them. And what we're going to talk now about is that Australian-based business. The first thing I really want to point out is the number one event. So everyone that's on this call, I classify as a leader. You are sacrificing time because you want to build a business. You're not on this call to hear about customer information. You're on this call to hear about the business. So I want to make sure that every single person gives it their absolute best shot possible to be at our Noosa Leadership Retreat. It's our marquee event of the year. All the details are very well published, so I don't want to go over how to get on that trip, but make sure, I was on a call with Rachel earlier, and there's so many people that are so close to qualifying. Make sure you have a look at your report. So for the new Sapphires, quite simple, just make sure you become a Sapphire, and it's a lot more easier to qualify as a first time Sapphire to get on that event. Existing Sapphires is a little bit more qualification involved, and that's all around behaviours that will help you build your business, which is enrolment. And make sure that you have a look at the report as a qualified Sapphire to make sure that you hit that target. There's a bit over 2 weeks, so effectively 21, 22 days left in the month to be able to qualify to get on that trip. The first thing you do as soon as you get off this call to see how many travel points you have. Are you a Sapphire yet? If you're not a Sapphire, how many executives do I need to be on that trip? It will be the performance over the next 3 weeks will govern your year without doubt if you want success as a leader in this business. If you're a Pearl, make sure that you do what you can to become a Sapphire. Get out of your comfort zone. If you've got 12, 13, 14, 15 enrollments, see how many people can find to. Who do you know that needs these products? Set them up on a basic package, etc., just to become an executive. Make sure you do whatever you can to get onto that Noosa retreat. You are looked after amazingly by the company. The company's gone to extra length this year, and we actually got guest Dennis Windsor coming out to be one of the key speakers of the event. So it's really important that you get on that trip. Like, you need to be there as best you possibly can. So I'm not sure what's happened there, and you might want to change the screen viewing there, but make sure that you qualify for that Noosa Leadership Retreat. There's a report in your back office to know how many people you need to enroll to continue on with that trip. That's the number one thing. Number two is our national convention. So we had this really great launch to our trip, which is a VIP component. And the VIP component was an early bird, which got you an opportunity to go and catch up with the executive team. So there'll be an opportunity to spend time at a special cocktail party there. But for me, when we talk about setting a plan, my number one planning activity for every single year is to find out when our national convention's on, or your national. So let's just say that you're in the Philippines or you're in Denmark. Find out when that national event is, the university locally, and your international event that you're connected to as well. In this year, Jeunesse have broken new ground because they simply don't have a big enough stadium in the world to fit everyone in. So they're dividing their international convention into 5 different segments. And for the Asia Pacific region, we'll be heading to Thailand in September. Really excited about that because the last time I was in Thailand, it's probably my favourite international convention. They put on such an amazing show there, and I'm very excited about going to Thailand. So we've got these 3 pillar events that we build our entire year around. So for me, if I'm building the business, I say, when is our national convention? And it's in March this year. And I'm saying, how many people can I get to come to that event? And that's simply over the next week or 2 weeks, call people in your business and the people that are in business with Jeunesse. What is your goals for 2017? Is it something you want to do to earn full-time, part-time income, hobby income? Are you happy being a customer? Just start to define what category people fit in. If someone says to me they want to earn full-time income or life-changing income, but they're not prepared to commit to being at the national conference, they just simply drop back into hobby-based mode. You know, I've never, ever, ever, ever seen a distributor build it to the top if they haven't committed to these 3 pillar events in their local market. So you've got your national convention, university in Australia, they're the 2 big local, and the international convention. The international convention, while from a learning perspective, is not the best learning style event, but it opens your eyes to the possibilities and the vision of the company better than anything, better than absolutely anything. You see the owners speak, you see the heart of the company, you see the show that they put on, you see people from all around the world having a level of success. So if them, why not me? If them, why not me? Some of these markets are markets that often may be classified as low income earning based markets. You know, we have lots of those markets in the Jeunesse family and they're having incredible success. So why can they come from so little and achieve so much? It all gets back to the individual of making the decision. And the great thing that I look at with Jeunesse, and when I look at the cross-section of the diamonds in Jeunesse, the number of first-time network marketers that have reached the level of diamond is like I've never, ever, ever seen before. There are a lot of people that have never done this industry before. There are a lot of people that have come from very, very, very humble beginnings and have reached that level of diamond director in the business. I love the Tina Hu story. She's, you know, a triple diamond with a company. She moved to America to live, you know, the American dream, let's call it. Couldn't even speak the language and worked in that country doing jobs as cleaning and basic hospitality style jobs. Joined Jeunesse, went to every event for a year without a guest, and is now a triple diamond with a company. An amazing, amazing story. Never network marketed before. Just simply took the advice of someone that already walked the pathway and achieved great success. And now she inspires so many people all around the world through simply telling her story. And her story has probably created that many people to have levels of success. It is truly, truly amazing. She's an inspiration to the company, but what it really points out to someone like myself is, if Tina, why not me? She was in her mid-60s when she started. So it's really important that you lock into those events. If you have people in your business that are saying one thing and doing another, then you need to assess how you invest your time into those people. So if someone says to me, Craig, I want to build a diamond-sized business, and I say, great, you know, let's work together, blah, blah, blah. Have you got your convention ticket in Sydney? No, I'm going away with the mates on the weekend. We're having a golf weekend. Qualify unqualified themselves immediately until they re-qualify themselves. So they'd effectively have to enroll 50 new people to re-qualify for my time, because I value the convention as so important. So we've got our Noosa Leadership Retreat. So everyone on this call should be doing their absolute best to get as many people there as possible. But our major convention is the big event of the year, and it's been every second year that the top line executives have come out to that, and it's that year again. And I know Rachel, she may give you a bit more insight and update onto that. I know she did the rounds of the Christmas tour where she was talking about registration of a product for a potential launch. So I don't want to let on too much about that now. I'm sure most people on the call have heard her talk about that, what she's working on and trying to get put together for launch. I know that things are going really, really well there, so just get excited. And she may talk a bit more about that on their call later in the week. Also, we have our incentive trip. Now, for me, incentive trips, really, really important part of the plan as well, because effectively the number one activity in building a network marketing business is the enrollment process. Our compensation plan rewards you the most financially through it, but it gives you, it's the law of averages, the numbers game. If you want to enroll 2 people and expect to max out off that, that's like winning a Tats Lotto ticket. But if you enroll 100 people, your chances of having 2 that can help you max out the comp plan with Jeunesse are a lot higher. If you enroll 200, 300, 400, the chances are higher again. So importantly, enrollment's the number one activity. Now, our rewards trips are usually based on enrollment, the number one activity. So if someone's been saying to me for the Noosa retreat that it's too hard to qualify for that, and the qualification's 70, 80 points or whatever it is, and you haven't been able to enroll your way there, considering you could have bought an event pack and got most of the way there already, well, hey, your business will be stimulated more if you enroll a few more people. Give yourself more chances to have more success through that enrollment-based process. So also coming up, I know Rachel will announce something very soon in the coming days, so keep your eye out also on an email or on our social media for a little stimulation to product packs for the rest of January. So just keep your eye out on the details of that. I know something's coming. I don't actually know exactly what it is, but just keep your eye out in the coming days for a bonus there. Also know that Rachel just signed off on an incredible speaker, one of the best stories in Australian sporting history in infamous ways and famous ways, to be speaking at our national convention. So I'm not going to let too much more onto that, but I know that it's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, they've heard him speak before. I've let on that it's a male speaker, and they absolutely love his inspiring story. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So that's touching on local base activities. The 3 main events, plus qualifying nationally and do whatever you can to get to that Noosa retreat. They're the most important things that you can be doing in the business. Also, a lot of people, every day I get a question about India. So, for me, I am very, 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 I'll put it out there, very bullish about what could happen in the Indian market. So for me, it's certainly not a market that I would ignore. But remember, I was talking about your plan and your time, you need to respect the time that you can put into the business. If you've only got 10 hours a week to put in the business, I would put 9.5 hours into productive time of local stuff and where your warm market stuff, and only a half an hour into India. That's the type of respect that you should be putting into that at the moment. India's still tracking well. They've obviously got 4 employees there now, working on registrations, working on launches, etc., etc., etc. There's also things out of Jeunesse's control in regards to currency, etc. That all affects the launch of that market. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen there, but I just don't want people to get caught into the trap of spending 10 hours a week out of their 11 hours prospecting people in India. That if you take your eye off the ball of what is working, and there's markets already working around the world, you will fall into a big trapdoor. So I don't want to put down the excitement that I have towards that market, but I just want to make sure people align the time they spend on that market with productive time. All right, so I hopefully made that point fairly clear. But as far as I'm aware, everything is as we've discussed over the last 3 to 6 months, something looking to happen around that late April time, and moving on, more events as we progress. So that's all I'll say on India. I always like to talk about the success of the industry. The success of the industry is incredible. This is the industry to be in the new age, low entry point, unlimited possibilities. That's what I always talk to people about, getting into business where you can enter low entry point, low risk, endless possibilities. And because of that, and because of the internet, because of social media, because of social media, internet, the new age of business, smartphone technology, the new age of business is absolutely booming. So today I was reading on a blog, 2 new companies launching into the network marketing world. They're launching mainly in the US first. And that excites me for the industry. But unfortunately, the number one reason people join network marketing companies is the word launch. Now, if you want to go and build a business for the long term, the word launch can only last for so long. You can only launch a company for so long. So you've also got to look at substance. So I look at launch as icing on the cake, not the ingredients of the cake. So in Australia, we had 4 or 5 companies launch into Australia last year. I love that, that we are dictating companies to come to our market, but we'll have more this year. And the companies that launched last year will lose people to the companies that launched this year because of the word launch. So the point I'm trying to make is it's important to build with substance. And if you look at the trend, the sales figures that we're talking about with Jeunesse over its first 7 years, we have what you call substance. You can go to the marketplace with a business with substance. So companies will always launch, and I look at that as a positive. People are always trying to bring products to market through a direct sales style platform. Look at that as a positive, not a negative, but don't fall for the word launch. The word launch is something that can only last for 60 to 90 days. Because if someone joins that company for the word launch, they'll probably lose everyone that they joined into it for the next company that comes on and uses the word launch. Join a company for substance and longevity. So we'll talk a bit more now about You Inc. Now, I want to touch on You Inc., which is leaders, leadership, and success all gets down to the individual. Now, it's important to understand that process, because Jeunesse is a journey that's been a success story, which has nearly been triple-digit growth, doubling in size year on year on year on year on year on year. And that won't happen forever, by the way, because it's just impossible to just continue to do that. But it's been a major success story. Your business might not replicate doubling year on year on year on year on year, but if you're doing the right activities time and time and time and time again, you've got a good plan in place, you're doing minimum daily action, you're working on being brilliant at basics. Brilliant at basics is being good at telling your story, being good at connecting with people, being good at building rapport with people, being good at telling the Jeunesse story, being good at telling the industry story. These are the ingredients that build your repertoire to be able to go out there and be, when you're talking to people, people go, wow, I want to join with that person. So it's really important that you work on improving these 1%ers, being brilliant at basics. So when you go out to the field to tell a story that's an incredible story, a story that's never, ever, ever happened in this industry, you are able to generate interest. If you can do that and you speak to enough people, and hopefully it's not just quantity, it's quality mixed in quantity. So I want everyone to join, but I want to make sure I don't just have 1,000 customers. I would like to have 200 people that build the business and 800 customers. I want to have people that want to engage. And the only way to get people to engage in the business is to get them to see the vision. The only way to get people to see the vision is to be able to go out there and share the vision. The only way to be able to get out there and share the vision is to actually learn it and then go and do it. So it's really important that you become brilliant at the basics of network marketing. There's no web program that will do it for you. There's no hanging out on social media for long enough won't do it for you. Having a LinkedIn account won't do it for you. Buying a database won't do it for you. The only way that you'll be able to have a level of success in this industry is to become a master at the basics and be able to build a network. All those other things, being good on social media, having lead systems, all that other stuff is just cream on top. Most importantly, you master the basics and be good at pure network marketing. Pure network marketing is prospecting, inviting, enrolling, and then duplicating. All right, if you can master those 4 things, you can build a network marketing business. All right, so I really want to point and make that a really strong focus on what you should be working on. So if you sit there at the moment and say, actually, I cannot even tell the Jeunesse story for the life of me, how do you expect someone to join the Jeunesse opportunity? If you feel that you're telling your story in 3 seconds, hey, my name's Craig and I'm an engineer and I work hard, no one's going to join that person. People want to join people. So be good at telling your story. Understand and have confidence in the new age of business. The new age of business is all around us. Why is Uber? Why are Airbnb? Why are Amazon, these new e-commerce businesses, dominating their niche? Because they've been able to adapt to the new age. The people that didn't accept social media to start with, and these were people in the media, they deliberately said, I do not have a Twitter account. I do not have a Facebook account. Those people perished in their jobs. The people that wouldn't use a computer were unemployable 5 to 10 years later. So the new age of business is the way business is being done now. So you need to with your story with confidence to be able to say, I am in this industry because I know that this is the new age of business. I partnered with a company, and the reason I partnered with that company is because their story was so compelling, because their products were so unique, because their results were so true and real. There's no hype. There's no hype in Wendy Lewis being, International Businesswoman of the Year or all the different accolades that she's achieved. There's no hype in Jeunesse being a rising star company, the first company to ever do $1 billion in a year. There's no hype in that. That is fact, all right? So you need to be able to tell that in the story. So it's really important that you master the basics. And if you can master the basics, you're going to be able to prospect people. You're going to be able to invite people to see the story. You're going to be able to enroll people. You're going to be able to duplicate. And the art of duplication is the key to building big in this industry. So the best enrollers are not necessarily the best business builders, because they haven't been able to help empower, inspire people to have success in this industry. So it's building people as well. You've got to always bring people in. So don't fall into the trap of management mode to build people. Always bring people in, but you need to duplicate. You need to have people operating with or without you in this industry to have success. It's all about the leverage. It's all about being able to enroll that one person that can go out to find the 1,000. So, and a great example is the host of this call, Angela, is someone that I helped start the business, who helped someone start the business, who helped someone start the business, who helped a customer join the business, who helped Angela come into the business. And, through just doing what we call best work practice, we have, created an amazing business all around the world through what we call best work practice. And best work practice is being good at the basics and being a great pure network marketer. Everything else is cream on top. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't have LinkedIn Premium. I'm not saying don't have, go and set up a blog or a website or whatever. I'm not saying don't do that, but make sure that you've mastered being a pure network marketer before you answer questions. I'm not sure if you want to turn the call off for the questions or you'd like them to be in there. Just feel free to go any way you want to go with it now, Angela.
Sorry, Craig, we lost 10 seconds. So I lost you. Did everyone else lose Craig? Yeah. So,
feel free to take the call where you want it to go now, whether you want me to answer a handful of questions. If you want me to talk about something specific you'd like me to touch on, feel free to do that. And yeah.
Well, look, I think you've covered it really well. I love the fact that you started with the whole, grow local first, because I think even though there's a big global group on the call tonight from Hong Kong and Malaysia and other places, I mean, the thing is, it's great that we all start where we live. And even my business, as global as it is, I haven't actually enrolled a lot of people outside of where I live other than one person in New Zealand. So that organic growth, is really great for growing internationally, which is what Craig really focused on with me in the beginning. If there's any questions you might want to, because there's still well over 100, almost 140 on the call, so I don't want to start unmuting, so it's a great audience. But if anyone does have any questions, if you want to type them into the group chat, and I'll just keep chatting with Craig and we'll have a look there as we go. Okay, so any new product release, Craig?
Well, In February, if you wait for the Vegas convention, there's going to be another unique product that the company's going to bring to market, and they've started dropping a few teasers around that. But from my understanding, I believe that they've got a stockpile of products in waiting at the moment, because you just can't launch everything at once. But because of the Jeunesse story, and because so many people saw what happened with Instantly Ageless, you've got biotech companies and companies just lining up begging Jeunesse to take their product to market, which is a very healthy position from Jeunesse's point of view. But in Australia, I think it's Rachel did talk about trying to localize Zen, and she's working on that. She talked about that all through the Christmas tour, so I'm not letting in on anything that's not already known, but she's pretty happy with how all that's going, and very confident that that's something that will come to us. So Jeunesse's new product that will come out will be something very, very different. And I'm sure if 80% of the female participants in network marketing love, participants in network marketing, they're going to love this. It's never been seen before in this industry. So I'm pretty excited about that. And the Vegas convention this year's a month earlier, so you'll hear about that, inside of best part of 3.5 weeks, because that's about the 10th, I think, of February.
Yeah, awesome. Also, Craig, I know you spoke about the top 3 events that are coming up this year, but when we talk about the local calendar of events, all the opportunities that we have going on around the country, we kick off in a couple of weeks in most parts of Australia. What advice can you give everyone about, making the most of these local events, and really for the first one of the year, working together as teams in the different locations to really fill the rooms, not just with new people, but also distributors that may have not come along to events for a while? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I always talk about being brilliant at basics. You need to develop your skills so you're capable of telling the Jeunesse story very, very, very well. Ideally, you would position yourself so you could tell the story that if you were presenting on stage, that people would join because of how good you can tell the story. So that's brilliant at basics. Let's just say that you cannot do that, or you're not very good at doing that. The events, the webinars, the recorded webinars, the tools are what will be your biggest asset for going to build the business. So our events calendar is all built around giving distributors the opportunity to hear someone that's very capable of telling the story at a compelling level that people will join, the chance to invite a guest along to have a look at that story. Now, I'll just touch on this a little bit more because it's a really, really important point. Live events, the number one conversion strategy in network marketing, like survey-based, live events are the number one because people feel the energy, they see the vision, they often get to network and talk to people as well. And it's sort of like they're the feeder events to the big events. So as a part of my strategy to end of March, when the convention is, I'm looking at my events calendar all the way back to the first event coming up. Now I'm looking at my list and I'm going, okay, who do I have in Perth that I've spoken to before, that I've had at an event or I've had interested in the business? Who can I get to that event to see that presenter speak? Then I follow up with that person. What did you think? But I don't necessarily, I'm not going to wait to, say, the 1st of February for that to happen. In the meantime, I am showing them videos. I am getting them to watch a recorded webinar. I am getting them on the phone to speak with my upline or someone I feel that, that they'll really rapport within the business. So but the live events, they're there for you to bring your guests along to be able to, because the question everyone always asks is, can I do this? And can that person that I'm going to enroll with help me? So the can I do this part is, okay, you're saying all I need to do is invite someone to have a look at this. I refer people to cafes and restaurants and movies and sporting events and circuses and whatever, all the time. I'm a natural referrer. I'm a natural, go and have a look at that. Why don't you invite someone to come and have a look at the story at one of our live events? If they like what they see, then they'll sit there and they'll go, okay, I can do that. I can invite people to that event. Then it's about, again, getting back to that you Inc. type of thing. Is you being the right person I want to join with, because you're not being ignorant to the opportunity and not knowing anything. You're actually demonstrating that you're a professional, and and that is being able to answer questions. If you can't answer the question, go and find out the answer. There's an answer to everything, so go and find out the answer. But importantly, the events calendar that we put in place is trying to fly our capable leaders around Australia to tell the story, for a distributor to invite guests to be able to hear the story, to help the conversions, to help find those more people to go out there and to be empowered and inspired. And that's where people see more vision. It's not just you telling them something, it's them hearing it from someone that's already walked the path. And, I'm really excited. Angela and I went and had a look at a couple of new venues in our Melbourne region, and we're really excited about our events calendar for 2017. So get up on social media to our Jeunesse Global South Pacific page onto the events and have a look at when all these events are about to kick off. Look at the locations, look at the dates, and then look at your list. Go through your list. Who do I need to get to that event? Really, really important. Every 10 people you get to an event, expect, a handful to sign. But I always look at this. For every 10 people I enroll, I've got 2 business people, 8 customers. If I want to get 10 business people to the convention working on those numbers, I've got some work to do. This year, to have 10 people at that event, you may need to bring on 20 new people, 30 new people to get those numbers in. So it's really important that you start with a localised events. If you live in Melbourne, for example, and you've got friends in Perth, you don't not invite them because you're not going to be there. You be a professional. You be professional, you get them on a call, you get them to look at information, you get them to go to the event, you follow the person up, you may even see if the presenter that's going there can just say hi to them on your behalf. You be a professional, because people want to join with professionals. And, that's, again, becoming brilliant at basics.
Yep, absolutely, Craig. I mean, if you want to give a prospect or a new distributor the total experience, the local live events are the way to go. And I think we're pretty fortunate in Australia. We've got, more than one event a month in most markets. I mean, here in Melbourne, it looks like we'll have one a week. And if there's a few questions coming up there about which events are continuing in 2017, what areas. If you go to Jeunesse Global South Pacific, almost all of the events for Australia are now up, and also for New Zealand, at least for the first quarter, if not for the entire 12-month calendar, guys. So if you have any questions about that, just ask your direct upline. They'll be able to help. So there's a couple of questions there about promoting Zen before it's launched in March. Craig, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, you gotta balance your delivery. You know, there's a whole philosophy of overpromise, underdeliver. And if you overpromise something early and you lose people through disappointment, through underdelivering, then you cost yourself. And, you know, I've experienced this by being the first to market a few times. One thing I will say back on events before I touch on this and go off on into this question, but the one thing I will say is globally, Australia are the envy of the company for their live events calendar. If you go to the US and there's more diamonds there than nearly anywhere, and have a look at the global events calendar, it's embarrassing compared to what we put on for people. We travel more than anyone. Australia, landmass-wise, is bigger than, you know, nearly the same size as America, and we put on an amazing events calendar scheme. And so many people always say to me, how come we don't, you know, how come our events calendar is not like that? It's not like that because the leaders aren't behind it. Our leaders are behind our events 100%, and that's why out of 20 million in population, we're one with a probably best or second best per capita performing market in the world. But from a sales perspective, we're still right up there as well in the global sales perspective. So, you know, get excited about what we've put forward, and really, like, you know, use that as a great tool and asset for your business. Now, in regards to promoting too early, I love teasing people. There's no question about that, of what's coming, but there's a balance of teasing people. It's managing expectations is the key word. So for myself, you could lose all your Indian prospects through not managing expectations. You know, I've had experience in launching Nigeria where, you know, my business had the first 4 sapphires in the market, and then by the time it really got officially going, they were all gone because it was too hard to work. In Mexico, I was very, very similar. I had, you know, I had 6 people that had earned more than $20,000 a month in the industry before, in that market when the market was just going. And because, you know, things took longer than they expected, that, you know, as a pioneer, it's always the rocky road that you've got to go on, but this provides the biggest rewards. And the Mexicans that stayed, that, you know, tuned there, are double diamonds now. So, you know, that was, I could have had a double diamond as a personally enrolled person if they were able to stay the course. But the most important thing was, my lesson I learned from managing expectations, like not so much managing expectations in Nigeria versus I did manage expectations in Mexico. I'm really happy of how I dealt with it in Mexico, but things got out of my control that, you know, they just didn't want to pioneer. They wanted to go with something more established. But the point is, if you don't manage expectations on Zen and go out and sell Zen now before it comes to the market properly, you run the risk of losing your people. All right. So if you go out and say, join now and sign up to Zen, as long as you say that you can join now, we have the ability to buy it for personal use through import card or however you want to say, but at some stage, and we're thinking more sooner than later, we're looking to localize. We're working on the registration of that now, and that person is 100% comfortable with that situation. I think it's very fine to talk about that now. But if you're going out and selling people into the opportunity based on Zen being localized, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. So the answer to the question can be easily, 50 one way and 50 the other way. But if you manage the expectation of the prospect well, I think, you know, timing wise, we're about 2.5 months away from our convention, and more announcements around all that localizing, etc., I think, it's a dangerous ground just trying to enroll people and going too hard too early on that. And that's the same with country launches as well.
Yeah, that's, again, great advice, Craig. And I guess it gives us another opportunity to use that information to invite new people and prospects and new potential partners to the Sydney event, because we know there's going to be a product launch there. So if they really are interested in that style of product category, the weight management system, there's going to be no better place for them to see it than at Sydney Convention. So guys, that gives us another reason to invite more people to Sydney. Craig, there's a couple of questions there just about basic training and getting back to basics and getting started training. One of the things I wanted to bring up in that area is really the idea of learning on the job. I think the best results I've got, not just through my own experience, but also with the people that I've worked, are more from distributors that I've worked with, almost you could call it on an apprenticeship level. Like, I feel that my relationship with Craig over the last 4 years has been almost like an apprentice. So he's like, this is what you need to do, go out and do it, rather than sitting in front of lots of paperwork and audios and videos, just being a student for a long time. Being an apprentice when you're working on the job is the best, gets a lot of, I think, the best results. Now, one of the ways to really get started is to do home launches. And I think a lot of us as a group, I'm going to put it out there and say as a group, a lot of us got lost in the whole technology, got excited with Zoom calls and started launching people online. And I feel, just from my personal experience, that we lost a lot of that emotional connection with people. Craig, what's your thoughts on being in the room, being present and running home launches for our new distributors where we can?
That's what I call the ultimate form of finding, like that is turning over the stones to find the crabs there. Like that's like the real, if you find great people at home parties, and then that feeds into, your bigger events, that feeds into, something a bit more bigger. So the people that do home launches and really focus on, working on one a week and launching someone's business, buy an ambassador pack and let's retail that product at a home launch and get your money back and some. And let's duplicate that. Let's find the two in the room. You got to be careful you don't do a business opportunity presentation in a home launch. It's more soft, it's more friendly, warm environment, but just touch on that, if anyone does want to find out about, earning a bit of extra money, blah, 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 we can just get your details here and we'll follow you up, after this. So they feel it's an inviting environment it's got comfort attached to it. But that if you could duplicate perfectly, you think about this industry, a big section of this industry is party planning. Now, if that didn't work, probably a third of the companies that represent the direct sales industry would be bankrupt. So it's more physical work. It's potentially slower in some circumstances, but you need to probably implement that into your business. And the good thing is you don't need to be a great presenter there. You get the person that wants to build a business, launch their business, they try and buy an ambassador pack and retail that off and make a profit on it. And then if they get 10 people there, they might get one person that may be open to talking about the business down the track, 9 customers. And that's perfectly fine. But it's a really great strategy to put into your business moving forward.
Yeah, and I second that. I have to say, some of the top people that I work with, I discovered at home events, and, I'm guilty of I guess, choosing technology over personal, the ability to be personally present in the room. And in 2017, I'm certainly going to make a big effort to get back in the lounge rooms and the kitchens of the world and, launch as many people as possible in their homes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be level 1, guys. I mean, at the height of my business, when I ranked 3 times in 4 months, in 2015, I was doing home launch after home launch after home launch, and it was level 1 to infinity. It didn't matter who it was, as long as that person was part of my organisation, I was happy to do that. So I expect my phone to be ringing off the hook tomorrow for anyone that wants a home launch. So I think, it's been a great webinar. I can't see any more questions coming up. I'll just have a quick look there. Yeah, Nicole Mariner says our biggest growth came through home launches. Nicole and I both rode that wave, and she got to Ruby through the same style of launching. So, and the home launches, like Craig said, you don't have to be a professional with a clicker and a iPad or a laptop with a screen. You lose all the technology. It's just people-driven personality and stories. Just really share the stories and find the personalities and then bring those to the meetings. I actually think we should do a bit of a challenge, Craig, because our first week of events start in February. So nationally, we're launching our event calendar in Feb. I mean, imagine if everyone on this call, we've got 3 weeks till the end of January. Imagine if everyone could find 3 new people to launch. They don't have to be brand new to your business. They just have to be people that actually haven't launched yet. Something like that could really start a domino effect. You find 3, then they find 3, then they find 3. Imagine what could happen by the time, we get to our first Melbourne event on the 1st of Feb. Everyone on this call, could potentially have 10 new people in the room. So, is that a challenge that everyone's interested in? I know I've got a few people that are definitely happy to do that. I think it would be a great way to really get that flow going. Everyone's sort of coming in after the holidays. I think it's important to really start, as Craig said, focusing on the basics and really get your business moving in the right direction, but by using tools and following systems that anyone can do, that's duplicatable. And, home events and launches, anybody can do that. So Craig, anything you want to add to finish tonight?
No, look, I mean, just respect what you have in front of you. Don't deviate no matter what. Jeunesse is company built on facts, not hype. The story's already proven and getting bigger and better. Companies will always come into the market, welcome that, get excited by that. Don't get confused by that. So make sure that you focus on, the flowers, not on the weeds. We've got something special in front of us. The people that respect it will be rewarded greatly. Don't get mixed up with time versus productive time. And, I'm here and I'm going to be working as hard as I ever have in 2017. I'm very approachable for new people if you ever need any help or any support. And, I'm going to travel as much as I ever have before. I'm going to continue to educate and support and encourage. But most importantly, I'm going to continue to lead by example. And leading by example is continue to bring new people to Jeunesse, continue to help people get up and, reach those levels, and continue to lead by example. So thanks for everyone jumping on, and give it your best shot. Make sure you're in qualify for that Noosa Leadership Retreat and go out there and tell the world.
Fantastic. Thank you, Craig. We really do appreciate your time, and we know that you give it 150%. And really love the fact that we get so up close and personal with you. This call has been recorded, guys, so as soon as it's up on YouTube, I'll post it in all the groups so you've got access. Share it with all of your team, and I'll certainly be listening to it again. But again, I'm going to unmute everyone so that you can all give Craig a big cheer, if I can If I can work out how to unmute everyone, that would be good. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, guys. Thank you. Great.
That was fantastic.
Everyone.
Thanks, Angela.
Okay, thanks, everyone.